You might remember the other day, Noah called me and said,
across the street, there's a bunch of steel beams getting like loaded into the building and in the parking lot.
What I told Noah was that they actually were paid for before my diagnosis, so they were going to show up no matter what. What I didn't know is that we obviously paid for them to put them up as well, so that's happening today.
Noah, come on!
Well guys, it's official. If you thought that the aquarium wasn't happening, the first beam is actually up. And as you can tell, like I said, this is how far this wall, so this wall will basically come all the way out to here. This is going to be the front of the building, and then it'll go all the way down here. But the first beam is up. All the steel is going to be up in the next 2 or 3 days, and then you'll kind of get an idea of what the front facade of the building, not necessarily is going to look like, but at least how much it's there and structurally and stuff like that. So all these beams right here, all along here, go in box right here, all the way down to the end over here. And then ultimately, you know, we put the roof on, and then ultimately you start to do all the glass and stuff like that. Still have to raise a lot of money. I appreciate everyone from the GoFundMe. Just to give you a little bit of an update, I think we're at $175,000 on GoFundMe. Total raised about $400,000 of the $2.5 million. I have a couple other people that are donating some pretty big chunks. So I think that we're gonna, if things go through, we might get closer to that maybe $700,000 or $800,000 mark here in the next few days. So we're not quite halfway there yet, but we're getting closer. So you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. We're gonna continue to work our butts off to get there. But before that, my friend Jeff is on his way. He helped us with the chiller, drilling the hole and stuff like that. I can see you, Jeff!
I see you.
He actually had a big piece of glass. He was moving shop, so he was like, hey, do you want this big piece of glass? You gotta put it to use somewhere, so he's coming by to drop it off, and we're gonna move it inside.
Do we have gloves?
Okay.
Break my glass, man. There's gonna be some problems.
I feel like I didn't even do any work.
We don't even really know what this piece of glass is for, but it's a beautiful piece of glass. Now we can maybe build an enclosure where there's that glass and then another piece of glass that's a door opening or something on that line. Sometimes you can actually repurpose things and then build exhibits around what you have, and it saves you a lot of money because that piece of glass alone is probably $1,000 piece of glass. So if we can save $1,000, that's $1,000 less we have to figure out how to pay for, right? So yeah, so I don't know what we're gonna use it for, but we'll put it to use somehow. While they're working at the building across the street, I'm going to just spend some time with my animals that I always love. Look at Ivy here. Now, what's a bummer is that because I had this port put in, I can't lift over 5 pounds for the next week. So all these beautiful animals like Ivy, I want to take her out so bad. I mean, look at how absolutely incredible she is. She just shed recently. She's a puppy dog. This snake is unbelievable to me. And I want so bad because she's in this position just to take her out, pick her up and play with her. But unfortunately, I don't want to hurt myself and I can't pick anything up over 5 pounds. It's crazy. As a matter of fact, I have a tour in a couple days. I have no idea how I'm going to do the tour because I can't pick any of the animals up. I guess I'm going to have to get Noah to help me out. Speaking of tours, Noah's actually doing a tour on his own right now. So proud of him. He's been doing a lot of tours lately and absolutely crushing it.
Pretty good. I'll grab it and then keep your hand out the water. Right there.
Does he like wetting himself under that piece of wood?
The funny thing is I don't have a lot of animals over here at the Reptarium. Well, I should say it's snakes and some of our bigger lizards and whatever, like even salt is over 5 pounds. So I have to be careful. So I have to kind of pick the animals that I can play with here. For today, of course, Freya is one of them. She's getting really big. As a matter of fact, it was fun. The first time I ever seen her sunning herself up by her on the ledge was the other day. She's just been kind of a little bit shy. Slowly working on her and stuff like that. She still isn't the greatest handling animal, but we're working on trying to get her docile so that people can actually hold her regularly when they come to the Reptarium. She's definitely no salt, but I hope one day she'll turn into a salt type animal. So basically today, just kind of going through, we'll check on what's going on here at the Reptarium and kind of give you the update. Also want to tell you what's going on over at BHB as well. Oh, and by the way, guys, the Reptarium is now officially open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This week is the first week that we're open 5 days a week now only 3 days a week. It's a little bit of a change. There's more to do. There's more hours. There's condenses everything because now we have to be ready to open at 4 o'clock. But it's going to be great all the way through the summer. We'll do this as well. That way, if you want to come to the Reptarium, but you can't come on the weekend, or a lot of times the weekends are sold out, now you can come on Wednesday and Thursday. Before we head over to BHB, because I want to update you on what's going on over there, sometimes I just think like you get used to seeing animals so much that you stop realizing how insanely crazy they are. I mean, Ben and Jerry are insane. I mean, it's a 2-headed snake. There's only a handful of these in the entire world. And the fact that we get to work with it every single day, like I said, I walk by the cage almost constantly, and I look at it and I think it's amazing, but every now and then you got to stop and rethink like, wow, we have a 2-headed snake. You know, you have to appreciate those moments because it's absolutely incredible. Of course, I've told you guys before, it's something that's called polycephaly. Now, I'll ask you guys a question. You can comment down below. Is this 2 snakes with 1 body or 1 snake with 2 heads? think about that? And of course, we're breeding the Colubrids now. It's crazy to think that our entire Colubrid colony is right here. I did see that some more animals made it over here. I think what happened was that we took animals from upstairs BHB and we started to bring them down, like the albino wolf snakes, obviously. Some snakes that we wanted to keep. So these were the animals that weren't like full-grown adults, but we just thought they were really good. Remember I told you that we were keeping some lavender het diffused animals, which are the plasmas? Wow, this animal is crazy. Whoa, slow down, Skipper. It's all right. Just relax a little bit. So this one obviously isn't big enough to breed this year, but it'll be ready to go next year. And holy moly, that thing is on fire. There's no doubt about it. So we have a few of these animals here, some albino Ocotecorns, those reverse that I talked about. This is a really beautiful snake right here. I mean, this is what they call a scissors crossing black and white Cal King. So it's a locality black and white desert phase Cal King, but it's from a place called Scissors Crossing. It just has a beautiful stripe on it. Beautiful Tessera stripe corn snake. Now the stripe corn is actually a recessive mutation, and then the Tessera is like an incomplete dominant. So when you breed the Tessera to a normal, half the babies on average come out looking Tessera, which is a really cool pattern, but then you mix it into the stripe and it makes it even more reduced. It's kind of cool to see the animals that I hadn't really seen in a while that were upstairs getting raised up. This is actually a charcoal diffuse corn, or what they used to call blood red corn. And basically what happened was with the blood red corns were like a really red snake. When they got older, they got more red. The pattern actually diffused and went away, right? Now, of course, when you started to breed it into stuff like charcoal or black corn, it didn't make sense to call them blood red corn snakes because they didn't have any red on them. So they changed the name to diffuse corn probably, 7-8 years ago. So now they're actually known as the diffuse corn, and they always have this like really reduced belly pattern. They always have like reduction on the side, and as they get older, a lot of the saddling of the snake itself actually goes away. Definitely weird to literally walk through and see all our Colubrids, and just there was one little error. I talked to Kevin McCurley from Nerd earlier today when I told him that we have really, I thought it was about 60 adult Colubrids. Now looking at it's probably about 80 adult Colubrids, and he was kind of blown away. He's like, 80? Oh my gosh, Brian used to have thousands of them. So it's really weird, but it's still nice to reminisce about the old times of having all the Colubrids. But hey, now we have a nice little group of Colubrids, and we are going to produce some eggs and some really beautiful babies this year. Let's head over to the dungeon. I had mentioned, we're kind of prioritizing when it comes to like what we're keeping. So there might be some boas and pythons that are going to go up for sale here relatively soon. Just trying to decide. It's painful to do it, trust me. But I did want to show you that this albino rainbow boa is gravid. She's full of babies. These are live babies. She's probably about maybe 2 to 4 weeks away from laying. That's going to be absolutely incredible. So that's a big one for me. But there's probably going to be a handful of other stuff that we're going to have to just kind of move out. Really a difficult thing for me. But we have to prioritize right now and think like, what is the best thing for us in the future and everything else like that, and how can we really focus on the things that are going to be really, really important to us. These are some what they used to call Stimsoni. Now, of course, they're children's, and they're actually trying to breed right now, but this female is almost gravid, so we look like those Antaracea, which are the children's spotted. Stimsons now really just children's and spotted, because Stimsons are now in the children eye group. They're absolutely looking great, and I think that they're going to produce a bunch of babies for us this year, but we'll probably downsize some of that group too, because we really don't need 30 or 40 adults. We probably could keep 2 or 3 pairs. As I'm going through things, it's difficult to look at it and go like, oh, this might not be here anymore. And I've got to be careful because this is definitely over 5 pounds. There's no doubt about this. But remember Penelope? I don't know if you guys remember when Penelope was a baby. Haven't showed Penelope in a while. This is an animal, of course, that's going to end up going over to the Reptarium or over to the Aquarium, depending on where it's going to go. So we have a lot of animals down here in the dungeon that are actually just here to kind of go across the street or to go back into the other Reptarium. And Penelope is a great educational animal, and she's also just a really beautiful Burmese python. It's a normal hypo Burmese that is absolutely stunning. Continuing to breed ball pythons, this is actually a Enchi het albino. We're breeding it to an albino clown ball python. I'm assuming she's going to have some pretty big follicles, and sure enough she does. Look at that. Wow, look at that. That is amazing. And it's interesting right now because we have a lot of ball pythons, 34 millimeters, that are really at that point where they can, go off of breeding and be done for the year. But then on the other hand, we have a bunch of stuff that is kind of just getting started and stuff like that. So it's going to be a weird year. We're going to have some early clutches. Our first clutches could literally be in the next probably 60 days or something like that. But then we have some females that are just really starting to breed now that are at like 14 millimeters, 12 millimeters, 13 millimeters. Those are probably another 4 or 5 months away from laying eggs. So it's kind of like a cycle type of thing, but definitely moving along quickly. And this girl here at 34 millimeters, she was just bred yesterday, means she's done. We don't have to breed her anymore. She'll probably ovulate here in the next, say, week and a half, and then lay her eggs 50 days. Actually, that mystery gene that now I call the Scooby gene. This is just one of them. them. I mean, just crazy. Look at the white on the head, the weird like lack of pattern. This is not a super cinnamon. So there could be one gene of cinnamon here, but it can't be a double gene of cinnamon. So I have no idea what this is, and they are so radically different, every one of them. I mean, literally, take a look. This is a sibling to that last one. And like I said, I think that we produced like 20. Every single one of them was completely different. Have no idea what this gene is about. Don't even know what it is. I definitely think that we've isolated the gene in pinstripe, which is the original animal, but we don't know like anything else other than the fact that it's like a really granity looking pinstripe. But when you start breeding it into other things, you start getting all these wacky mutations that are just absolutely incredible. So definitely a project that is going to take a while to figure out, but it's definitely worth it. All right, just one more. I had to show you this. This is another Scooby gene right here. Not a super cinnamon. Don't know exactly what's going on. This thing is so beautiful. The gray in this is absolutely wonderful. I'm loving this gene. So anyways, that's what's going on down here at the dungeon. You got the update of what's happening. Why don't we go check across the street and see what the construction is doing. So you can certainly start to see the vision of what this building is going to look like, right? The plant here is where the actual flow of the windows is. So windows are going to be all the way there, goes all the way across. You can see right here, there's going to be a beam that goes down from here to here. That's where the window is. So this entire thing would be windows, and then the windows would go all the way down over to here. But you're seeing how like tall and impressive when you walk up. Now the other thing that the plans on this whole thing is that there would be a pond that would go from that side right there, because this would be the front of the building, and the pond would come all the way down here, all the way through the other side. And like I had mentioned, there'd be a bridge. You'd walk over the pond. There'd be a koi pond, of course, and you would walk into the building that way. Just get an idea of the size of the building now. That's why I told you I wanted the front of the facade to be just so absolutely impressive. There's not a whole lot of steel left. They still have to finish up a little bit, but they're definitely making quick work of this thing, and it's pretty cool to see it actually come together. Like I mentioned, you know, we had actually paid for this before my diagnosis. So the sad part is as exciting this is, and it is so exciting to see the kind of beginning of that front facade. You know, I can actually visualize what it's going to look like right now. But the truth is that other than that, things are kind of on hold right now. We don't want to move forward until we know we can fund the entire project. And like I mentioned, you know, we're coming up on close to $200,000 on the GoFundMe. Thank you so much. We had already raised about $80,000 from the NARBC. So thank you guys for all your donations with that. And then beyond that, we've raised about a little over $100,000. I think about $120,000 individually. I'm in talks with several other people about donating bigger things. But like I said, 2.5 million is our goal. So we're still a ways off. Even if we're creeping up right now on maybe that $500,000 mark, give or take. And again, maybe a couple chunks, like $200,000 chunks might be coming in. You know, that gets us closer and closer to maybe that $1 million mark here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We still have to get a bunch more money together before we can move on for that. So right now, this is amazing. It's absolutely incredible. And it's kind of bittersweet, right? Because I love seeing progress, and this is such amazing progress. But at the same time, I know that once this progress is done, everything else halts until we can get enough money to go keep moving forward. So we're going to keep working on it, guys. It's like every day all I do is try to figure out a way to make this a reality and make this Legacy Aquarium actually come to. But it looks really cool out there, and I'm so happy that I got a chance to see that, what it looks like. Again, I didn't even know they were putting this deal up, so the fact that they're doing it, it just is super, super cool to see. And like I said, it's so impressive. It's amazing. Now we just have to get the rest going to make this inside start rolling again. And with any luck here in the next month, month and a half, 2 months, hopefully we can get going and actually get the whole project started again. And then it's going to move so quickly after that.